So, I've just made a video on the exact land um, of where, nearabouts where I live. So, there's some more detail I'd like to say about. It's not exactly where I live, but it's around that area. Um, it's more history. So, based on what the uh, based on what um, infer historical sources are known from the development of Stanley. So um, the Watsfield um, was called um, Old Ordnance Survey maps are in 1840 to 1950s. Didn't give names to the fields unless they were notable. That's, for example, Long Close, Far Ing, and Cow Pasture. Instead, they were labelled with field numbers that corresponded to thrift or estate plans. So for the area, it now sits appears on the 19th to the early 20th century are open archaeological fields with there's no record name, just numbered exclosures. So owned the farmland. So before the 1990s housing development, the land was part of the archaeological outskirts, historically owned by local farming families. Most of the land around Brook's Nest Road, Lime Pit Lane, and the area that became whereabouts where I live was farmed by local tenants and smallholders. So large estate ownership, that's the 19th century. In the 1800s, much of Stanley's farmland was owned by the Earl of Cardigan's estate, the Pillingtons family, local freeholders connected to Lakelock and Rook's Nest. So the lands the land was almost certainly part of the estate holdings, later sold off in parcels as Wakefield expanded. 20th century. By the mid-1900s, the land was still farmland, but increasingly fragmented into smaller holdings. Wakefield Council later released parts of the land for development in the late 1980s, early 1990s. So what the landscape looked like in the 1800s and early 1900s. So from 1850 to 1950, the land where I live, around where I live, there was open fields, large rectangular enclosures used for grazing and crop rotation, bordered by hedgerows and dry stone walls. No buildings, no roads, no structures. Edges of woodland, small patches of trees and scrub near the Rook's Nest area. Archaeological use. The land was typical West Yorkshire farmland, cattle pasture, hay meadows, occasional arable plots. Nearby, lime pits and small quarries existed, but there's no railway lines crossed across, no industrial buildings on the field. So did any of the footpaths or boundaries run through the land? So I think this is interesting. So there was no major public footpath crossed. Well, not right off way. But there were boundaries, so it was part of a large field divided by hedgerows. So older maps show a field boundary running roughly to around my area. Other boundary running, dividing the farmland into long strips. So the boundaries were removed when the estate was built in 1990s. And historic paths. There's a farm track leading towards Rook's Nest, a footpath connecting to Outward, old boundaries making diversions, but they didn't cross the land where things stand. So in a summary of the land and the history, it's pre-1800s, open countryside, part of rural farming landscape. 1800s, archaeological field owned by local estates, that's Cardigan and Pillington. Early 1900s, still farmland, divided by hedgerows, but there's no buildings. Mid-1900s, that's the same, old fields on the edge. Late 1980s, land prepared for development. 1991 to 95, it's the area that I live is built, and then obviously today we've got gardens and homes. So I thought it was a little bit more about history, guys. So please like and subscribe. Thank you.